guys, good afternoon. I know I am standing in between a great lunch and you guys, so really apologies for that. I'm on your side. I'm equally hungry, yeah? So I'm going to keep this short, not more than 15 minutes. So I know people who are in the room have a big appetite for good insights, and they can stay away from lunch. The morning sessions, each one of them, starting from what Rajiv spoke, the last one about Mohit, what Sanjeev spoke, very interesting insights, yeah? So I have put together 10 slides, and the theme of the presentation is Unbundling Mobile India. The reason I put together this presentation is largely because I, as an entrepreneur, and the nature of work I do at VMAX and VServe, I'm constantly meeting other app entrepreneurs. I'm constantly engaged with the top guys, with the long tail, with people who are beginning, and people who are already at a point where they're growing their business as an app, yeah? As I'm talking to all these guys, okay, for the last 6 months, increasingly, I started seeing a pattern of challenges at their end. In terms of how they should navigate the future. And that is why I put together this presentation, and I resonate with this thought that if you're an app entrepreneur and if you're looking at the way going forward, and not just a budding app entrepreneur, but someone who's been in the business for some time, what got you here, what got you till 2016 is not going to help you. The same trick, the same approach is not going to let you exist in 2018 or 2020. So you have to change. And that's why the theme, Unbundling Mobile India. So as we know, so if you look at India, a lot of people talk about smartphones, a lot of people talk about connections. My view is that forget about that. Focus only on the users, okay? Understand India as users to begin with. Now if you look at India, to simplify India, break it into 3 parts. India 3, India 2, India 1. What is India 3? Bulk of the people, 55% of the country's population belongs to India 3. Income levels, we are talking about an average income of about $1,500 per month. You talk about India 2, another 400 odd million people. What is the income level? $8,000 a month. And finally, you talk about India 1, which is 15% of India, which has an income of roughly about 30,000 per month. It is extremely important that various organizations, your product teams, your CEOs, a whole lot of people, they need to have a very clear understanding that if I'm going to win in India, if I'm a category leader in India, this is my market. India 3, India 2, India 1. And I will, probably, all of these pieces will come together towards the end of the slide, but I'm going to leave you with this thought for now. Second thought, what is India? India is a free market? No. India is a low ARPU market. You talk about any industry. You talk about apparels, you talk about transport, you talk about food, or you talk about FMCG. The reality is that we are a low ARPU market. Okay, India is not what people in this room are. Okay, we are not building a business for people in this room. We are building a business for the India market. And what is India? India is a low ARPU market. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a guy who's saying, I want to go out and win the market, if I'm a Flipkart, if I'm a Ola, if I'm a Paytm, if I'm a Make My Trip, if I'm anyone, okay, and if I want to build the business and own the market, I have to tackle India for what India is, yeah? Talking about, a category like FMCG, I'm going to remind people about this because a large chunk of people are new entrepreneurs. I'm going to remind people that for a large part of time, FMCGs were winning in the market, they were gaining market share, but they hit a glass ceiling. So unless and until they introduced sachet-based offerings in the market, they could not really increase their market share. So today as we speak, 85% of the shampoo sales are from sachets. What happened next with this success? The next category, telcos, borrowed this learning from the FMCG category and introduced sachet-based pricing there. So if you remember, Chota Recharge was a big hit in the country. And operators introduced this. Again, why? Because they realize that I have to think of India as India 3, India 2, India 1, and I also have to remind myself that India is a low ARPU market. Extremely successful here. Taking this closer to businesses, digital businesses. Look at Ola. What is Ola's attempt to unbundle India? Whether it is Ola Micro, whether it is Ola Prime, or whether it is booking a rig. All of this put together is nothing but an attempt to win India 3, India 2, and India 1. Most companies, seemingly, at this point of time, have started to think that India 1 is not enough. And I'm going to make a point that vast majority of digital companies began their journey solving the problem for India 1. Increasingly, in the last 6 months, or as they go forward, unless and until they don't think of 3 and 2, their business is at threat. They could get disrupted. Now, when earlier on I made a point about ARPU, low ARPU market. So a company like Ola or a company like Meru Cabs, as they tackled the problem of penetration of winning India 3, India 2, India 1, the next problem on hand for their business was, hey, we are a low ARPU market. I need to do something else. In my business, I need to introduce something else which we call value-added revenue. So I have to find out elegant solutions or elegant offerings which can help me drive better ARPUs from the same customers. So that's really how I can go ahead and do ARPU enhancement. Take more other examples of ARPU enhancement out here. Look at Book My Show. They sell tickets. And they also have an advertising business. Their primary chunk of revenue comes through ticket sales, but they have introduced in a very elegant manner that how is it that they can generate better ARPUs through ads. So they've introduced this piece. You take an example of Flipkart. We all know what Flipkart does. Flipkart again introduced the advertising business. So they have native ads within the Flipkart app. Why? Just to solve the problem of ARPU enhancement. You look at an operator. We all know why we use a telecom operator. But an operator also has an advertising business. They demonstrated, they built a large business around SMS advertising. Again, driven from the point that ARPU enhancement needs to be done. You talk about airlines. We all know people fly, people buy tickets. But many times we end up seeing ads on boarding passes. So this is again a demonstration of ARPU enhancement, right? So companies, what we are seeing here, I want to highlight this point is that you're seeing a pattern here. You're seeing a pattern that people are trying to tackle India 3, India 2, India 1, and also trying to work towards ARPU enhancement so that they, in a way, grow their business and remain a successful entity. Well, why is Paytm today a huge success, or why we believe that Paytm will be a bigger success? Okay, as all of, and I'm very sure that there are many entrepreneurs who are sitting in the room who want to be the next Paytm, or who aspire to win the market in their own categories. The only mantra to keep in mind is that if you're building a business, and if you're not taking into consideration an India 3, India 2, India 1 market, you're not going to really be a large player. You're not going to be a player of size or of significance. So 3, 2, 1 is the way to go. Now let's come back. We talk about India, and finally we talk about mobile India. So how do you unbundle mobile India? Okay. Keep in mind that, again, users in India, roughly 50-55% of the users in India will be browsing through smart feature phones. Okay. So that's bulk of the market. The second base, we are talking about users, roughly about 20% of the users who buy phones, smartphones, which are priced around 15K, sub 15K price point. Then you have another 20% of the market, which is beyond 15K, which is India 1. So as an entrepreneur or as a product guy, I have to constantly see that, look, am I serving the whole market? Am I going to go back and start thinking that let me make something for India 1 first, then tackle India 2, and then tackle India 3? Is that what I should be doing today? Or I should be flipping this and saying that, look, I need to tackle India 3 first, India 2 or India 1, right? So this is a huge dichotomy for most people. My conclusion or my strong belief when I talk to a variety of guys is that, look, you have to tackle India 3, India 2, India 1. You're going to find users. You can't ignore India 3. You just can't ignore India 3 because bulk of the users are going to be there. As far as their connectivity is concerned, as far as the kind of devices they use is concerned, they have certain devices and there is a form of engagement which they do. Now it's up to you as a business to figure out that, look, this user is going to engage in this manner. That's about it. And now I need to build a business which is relevant for this user. You talk about examples like Facebook, okay? Facebook gets bulk of its usage from the feature phone segment still, smart feature phones. They do get, right? Okay, Google, they get bulk of the searches, again in that category. You talk to a variety of large guys who are deeply penetrated into India market, okay, their user base would represent all. It's a different thing that someone could argue that, look, India 1 gives me a better ARPU versus India 3 gives me a better, poorer ARPU. But listen, it's up to you. You have to figure out. You have to build your business in a manner. You have to get your unit economics. You have to get your cost structures. And you have to get your entire product aligned in a manner so that you be relevant to India 3, India 2, and India 1. You just can't afford to think only India 1. So finally, what are we saying here? We are saying here that, look, if you really want to attempt unbundling mobile India, the only input I have is that you have to unbundle your own thinking. And you need to flip the thinking of taking an approach that, look, I have to think India 1, India 2, India 3. No, you have to think India 3 first. You have to think India 2 first, and then India 1. So that's where I end. And I just wanted to drive home this point.